Hello everybody and welcome back to our Drarry Adventcalendar with the wonderful story A Husband for Christmas by Jolly Love. Today we're at day 11. Please come home for Christmas.
Who's that?
Scorpius pointed at a picture on Harry's wall and turned back to it. Harry looked up from the kitchen table and smiled sadly. Luckily, Scorpius hadn't seen it.
Ginny, the picture is standing in front of us, the first World Cup she's played at. England won,
he explained as he cut the tomatoes for the salad.
Wow!
Scorpius' eyes widened and turned back to Harry.
That's so cool. I want to play Quidditch too. Can I be in the World Cup as well?
Harry chuckled.
If you're good, absolutely.
Scorpius grinned and looked at the picture again. He soon found another one of her.
Are you married then?
He asked, pointing at the wedding picture. They stood in front of the burrow, trying to get ready for the actual picture. Harry was getting something out of her hair, and she straightened his tie with a love-struck expression towards him. George had just accidentally pressed the button too soon. Neither Ginny nor Harry had argued against that being the official wedding picture. It was beautiful.
We were, yes.
Harry smiled softly as Scorpius turned to look at him.
She died 9 years ago.
He looked at the wedding picture and marveled at how innocent they both looked.
Sometimes I forget that she died and I think she's just out training. I'm sorry.
Scorpius sat down on the opposite side of the table.
I lost my mother 4 years ago. I know what you go through when you forget. Sometimes I ask Father if Mother is by the stables, and I realize that I made a mistake when I look at him.
Harry nodded. The way Draco trembled when he had straightened his tie showed that he still missed her. People might tell him to move on, but Harry wasn't one to talk. He hadn't moved on, and it was almost a decade ago.
You know this isn't your fault, right?
Scorpius sighed.
I know, but sometimes I wish I could help Father get over it, somehow.
Harry smiled as he got up and placed the pasta into the boiling water.
You can only tell him that you'll be there if he wants to talk. You can't help him otherwise. Maybe you can help him?
Scorpius asked hopefully.
He can't sleep most nights. I hear him wander around the house.
Sighing, Harry sat down at the table again.
If people don't want any help, you can't force them to get any.
Scorpius looked at Harry for a long time silently. Then he tilted his head and asked,
Do you want help?
No,
Harry smiled sadly. It's been 9 years. People tell me it should be fine, so I'm fine. You're crying.
Scorpius looked at Harry carefully. Nodding, Harry brushed the tears out of his face.
I know.
He saw Scorpius' worried expression and smiled through his tears.
Don't worry, it usually only lasts for 5 minutes.
Scorpius bit his lower lip and frowned.
Did you ever think about having children?
He seemed really careful with the question, as if he wasn't sure if he could ask something like that.
No, but I'd like to think that we could have been amazing parents.
Harry smiled. He decided not to give Scorpius more burdens. He was already crying because of Ginny. If he were to talk about James, the waterfall was flowing and he couldn't stop it for an hour maybe. In fact, it had been the last game Ginny wanted to do before she would take a break and have a child. Luckily, Harry had gotten himself under control rather quickly again. Scorpius smiled weakly.
I think you would have been a great father. You're much more fun than mine, anyway.
Harry smiled.
Well, your father has to go through a hard time right now, Scorpius. You shouldn't be so hard on him. I'm not.
Scorpius shrugged his shoulders and got up to look at the pasta.
I'm just saying you're very good at being there for me.
Smirking, Harry turned to look at him.
If you want, Scorpius, you can also go and get some ice cream from Ron.
Widening his eyes, Scorpius jumped up and nodded.
Yes, but do we need to be quick? Doesn't he close in 20 minutes?
Harry grinned.
He's my best friend from childhood, Scorpius. Of course he'll open for us. We might not get something fancy, but a scoop of ice cream is always good, right?
It seemed as if, in all this ice cream talk, Scorpius had forgotten about Ginny, which was what Harry wanted to achieve. Of course, he loved to go out and meet Ron again, but his main goal has been to ease Scorpius' mind. And so they both ended up in Ron's ice cream shop a few hours after closing. Ron had clearly gone out of his way and wiped up the ice cream brownie for Scorpius again, which he had eyed with such hunger that Harry wasn't sure if he had eaten enough dinner or just pretended. Both adults ate a scoop of cookies ice cream, which was by far Harry's favorite, and while Ron talked about Hermione and her career in the Ministry, the door suddenly opened and a young girl ran in and hugged her father. Following her was Hermione herself and the boy behind her.
"Good evening, everyone,"
Harry greeted them. Scorpius seemed a little scared of the new children as he concentrated on his ice cream, not looking up. Harry smiled softly and turned to Hermione.
"Hi, Hermione. It's so nice to see you again."
"Harry, I haven't seen you in weeks. Where have you been?" Hermione hugged him tight and turned to look at the child in the corner eating his ice cream. Smiling, Harry nodded.
"This is Scorpius. I'm his caregiver. His father's having a late meeting, so he's staying with me overnight."
Rose smiled at the blonde boy.
"Hi, I'm Rose. I'm going to Hogwarts next year. When are you going?"
Scorpius said,
"Next year,"
blushing a little. As if that was what Rose had hoped for, she started talking about everything she knew of Hogwarts, which wasn't too little, and got so overly excited that Scorpius soon joined in on the fun, while Hugo watched with huge eyes what his sister was talking about. To be continued.